Good morning, curious people of the internet. This is Seda Rodar speaking at the Entrepreneur's Kitchen. As you can see, we are pre-recording another episode because the person at the other end of the line is just like me, a mother, and she's quite busy with 2 kids. On Friday night, you are going to be watching this show with Elisabeth Wasserbauer, who is the co-founder of Lotus. Hello, Elisabeth.
Hello and good morning. Hi, Seda. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining me and also accepting to be here. I know it's always really a hassle with working moms to be able to do the shows in the night. And so thank you for accepting the pre-record, because I find your Lotus project really, really very interesting. But let me, before going into the Lotus project, let me just briefly introduce how we know each other, because that's also very interesting. So you used to be the CEO. You were the person who was helping journalists to be educated in Austria. So you were the CEO of the journalist curate. How do you say that actually in English?
It's in English. It's the Austrian Media Academy, and in English it's curatorium is not really translatable.
Yeah, it's kind of difficult. So let's say Austrian Media Academy.
Right.
But a couple of years earlier, you said, you know, now I'm really done. I want to focus on other things. And you started your own company. You started going in a very different direction. Let's talk about that before we go into the food.
Okay. Well, I didn't start a company. My company are two wonderful little girls, and it's running pretty well.
It's a good company.
You know, it's always how you define success and how you define work. Well, at the moment, my work are my 2 kids, and I of course I learned new things, and I decided not to go back into where I was before. It's like the further training with Johnny, and I did 2 longer courses and a couple of shorter courses. One was mental training, meaning how you can set your mind to work more for your health and for your well-being. And the other thing was integrity, which is well, actually how to set your body for your health and for your well-being. Like a lot of things, like you only know about chakras and things like that. And that was where I decided to learn a little more.
Yeah, I think that's very, very important. I am having a little bit of a difficulty hearing you now for some reason. Yeah, your sound is a little too as if you're underwater, but you know.
Oh.
Yeah, maybe get closer to your microphone for a second.
Maybe that's
Excellent.
better?
Yes, much better.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay.
Perfect. And now we can see you even better. Yeah, I think that's really, really important. This alignment between the mind and body, and you know, like really being present, especially with kids. They are extremely present, aren't they?
Oh yeah. Yes. They are big teachers in mindfulness and being present and being there you really are.
Yeah, they are absolutely. I'm really amazed by how in the moment they are. And that's, of course, something that's really important that, you know, we don't really consider when educating our kids in school. But let's, before going there, talk about the food. So what are you preparing? Something very mindful?
Well, it goes in that direction. It's also a trend like mindfulness.
Awesome.
I decided for bliss balls. So you could say it's about being healthy. It's like these little energy balls with dates and nuts and like seeds and cocoa, and it's put on a little coconut oil. So I'm cheating a little bit, but the main ingredients are just 3. So it's nuts, dates, and coconut oil. And you can always, you know, put in some other things. I'm not really, I can't really cook with the recipe, the written recipe. I'm always, you know,
That's the way to go. Exactly. That's always what you have to do. Well, and then you bake them, or how do you prepare them?
No, that's raw, and then you have this dough, which is like not a dough, but it's just nuts and seeds and nuts and dates, and then you make little balls and like rolling them. So I thought I can roll and talk to you.
Excellent. Perfect. Yeah, then let's roll.
Let's roll. Right.
Something similar with me. I'm going to be making a very simple breakfast because it's breakfast time for me. So it's, you know what I love? I love a thick layer of butter on very good dark bread.
Nice.
Some fleur de sel, and
pepper.
Some grinded pepper. And I think that's the best breakfast. You can make me so happy with that simple breakfast. Actually, I always eat it when I'm alone, especially because it's easy to make, and you know it's the best yummiest thing. So I'm going to be making and eating it at the same time. Yeah. Well, so we said it's really important to be in the moment. It's really important to go after or help with the needs of the kids. And so you said recently, okay, the usual school system, the usual system where we're educating our kids is not the right system for my kids. So you decided, a lot of people say that, I say that too, but nobody goes and starts their own school. Let's talk about that. So let's talk about Lotus. What was your motivation?
Well, yeah, that was actually the motivation, because I thought, or we thought, it's actually a group of people. It's not only me. It's we are 6 people, and we all thought, and I can tell my perspective. It's I mean, I can complain and say, this system and school doesn't work, and then go through the school like 9 years, probably more, and complain every week that my daughters always have to do homework, and then that the teacher is not, like really what I expect them to be, and like the system is difficult, but I decided not to. No. And I decided to do something else. So we decided that. So I don't want my children to fit in the system. I want my children to do something. Yeah, to build their own, not their own system, but to help building a new system, because there's so much going on right now, and there's so much change, and there's so much, new thinking, old thinking, and how can we combine all the ideas, and I want my children to take part in that if they want to. And if they don't want to, they can choose to do it differently. But I want to give them the opportunity, and I think it's the age from, like when they go into school, from 6 to 15 at least, is like such an important age. If they're still not grown up, they're not done with their personality. I mean, no one is.
Not at all, yeah.
I'm not. But
me, I'm also not done with that.
No. But it's still very, 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 very sensitive. And so we came up with this idea to have our own school. I mean, also you can do that. We have well, you have to go to school, but you don't have to use the regular, like the conventional system. You can also have your own school. I mean, it's quite a hassle.
Well, I can imagine that it's not really easy, because there are a lot of regulations if you're doing a school, and there is the curriculum you probably still need to get through.
Yeah, I mean, you can choose your curriculum. So we chose a curriculum which is called the Schlosslehrplan, which is not the regular curriculum, but we have to bridge the gap to the regular system, and of course you have to do things, but it's not like, okay, they have to know everything about history, and they have to, I don't know, do this special mathematics operation. That's not what is like forced. It's open, more open than you could think actually.
And what is different now in the system of Lotus?
Lotus is has three main pillars, and they are community is one. Like we think that the challenges we have right now can only be solved with together. Yeah?
Collaboration. Yeah.
Cooperation. Is one thing, and the other thing is the community is such an important thing for people being healthy and being healthy until they're very old. There are a lot of studies about old people. They're more included. They're in a community. The more friends and connections they have, the happier and the healthier they are. And we want them to, start that in a very early age. And it also calls it also okay. Oh, a reminder that I should talk to you. Sorry.
Excellent.
Yeah, and that's one pillar, community. The other pillar is nature. We are convinced that nature is playing a big part in a healthy and stable personality as well.
Yeah.
Because every one of us knows that when you're like really in your mind and things going on like this monkey mind, as soon as you go out, take a walk in a wood or even in a park, things are much better. And we are made for nature. We are not made for sitting inside in front of a computer, but we are made for being outside. And it's just the last couple of years or hundreds of years that we are inside and indoors. And our body and our mind are made for outside. So nature is a big part. And also for children to learn, okay, there are limits. Then if there is a gap, I can't go over it. And I can cry and I can scream, but this is what it is. And if I want to eat strawberries and they are not ripe yet, I can't eat strawberries. I mean, of course I can go stuff, but in nature I can't eat. I have to be patient and wait and therefore with a little plant. So that's good for children as well. That's nature is the second pillar. And the third pillar is mindfulness. Just what we talked about, yeah. Being mindful about themselves, their own body, their own feelings, their own whatever they have. Being mindful with the others, that's the next step. And then being mindful with the whole world, with the nature, with society, with everyone. So we think if you start like that, then you don't have to talk about diversity and about, conflict less, because you see what's going on more.
Yeah, I mean, there are a couple of schools. I remember in the news we have seen some schools experimenting, especially these so-called, problem zone schools, were experimenting with mindfulness practices and things like that. And they have studied the whole mindfulness practice with kids, and they have figured out that it actually helps. It actually really helps. So why are we not rolling this practice out in every school? Why does it have to be a privilege?
And why does it have to be like a program that you can do for 1 hour once a week? I mean, it can also be a foundation of what we do. So the people who are here, we don't call them teachers, but we call them what's Lernbegleiter? What could it be in English?
What's that?
Lernbegleiter is what we call them.
Oh, well, I would say the accompaniment. Yeah.
Right. The people who are doing that, they say, Sarah always says she wants to do like mindful practices when they are having a snack, like they are having their lunch break or a snack or whatever, and they just, sit down, and for 5 minutes they shouldn't talk, but just, think about the bread, where does it come from, and how it tastes, and things like that. So you can implement it in your daily routines, and you don't have to, okay, I'm sitting down now, I'm doing 1 hour of mindfulness. That should be like in your head.
Oh, that's actually a great idea, because it's probably also a prevention against obesity and overeating and, all sorts of different things, right?
That's what I think, because there are a lot of problems we have nowadays, which of course they can come up, but it's not that. Yeah, if you start being mindful or being present with yourself, then a lot of things just don't occur.
Yeah, I think that's really a beautiful practice you guys are building. And I've also read that Lotus is not divided by age.
Yeah.
What is the motivation behind that?
It's it's not natural. Enjoy. It's not natural that children or people are divided by age. I mean, if you go to the jungle somewhere, they don't say, okay, the 6-year-olds are sitting here, the 7-year-olds are sitting here, and the 8-year-olds are sitting here. No, they're together, and the older ones are taking care of the younger ones, and they're very lovely when they do that. And the younger ones experience what the older ones are doing and start doing what they are doing. And it's different if people if the children are learning from older children or if they're learning from grown-ups. It's very different, and it's much easier to learn from older children. So, and it's also the idea of community. No community where you say, okay, it's just from 27 to 28.
Yeah.
And we think it's not good. And I mean, if you talk about older people, there are a lot of I'm sorry, I haven't been talking English for such a long time.
It's okay, don't worry. we can translate on the go.
Yeah. There are a lot of projects with older people to bring them back to the community and bring younger and older people together. And we don't have. There's a project. I mean, it's such a natural way of living.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's actually why. And the idea of having children in their age classes is just to handle them easier. It's coming from church or from the military or I don't know. And the idea of having classrooms, so this is where the 6-year-olds go, and this is where the 8-year-olds go. It's just easier. And well.
I actually have another question. I have two more questions. One question I would like to ask is about, when you talk about these more nature and mindfulness-oriented school system practices, a lot of people think that those kinds of practices are not preparing the children for the real world, right? So that's probably one criticism that you guys always have to face, that they say, oh, now they're going to be all these lofty minds and they won't be ready for the real world. What do you think about that?
I mean, what is the real world first? It's always, you always choose your own world. Everybody does. And the other thing is what I said in the beginning. I mean, I don't want my children to fit in some real world. I want my children to build the real world, because that's what children do when they are grown up. They are building the real world. That's exactly what we do now. We can't always say, okay, it's the real world, it's the system, it's the others. I can't do anything, but we can just start doing, and that's what we try now. I mean, we start doing now something with the school, and I want my children, if they are not satisfied with something, and if they want to have something differently, they just should try to change it. I mean, I don't know whether whether our school project works, but we are trying and we are doing, and in the end we will see whether it succeeds or not.
Yeah, I mean, I think I do prefer also kids who have an idea around sustainability, mindfulness, nature, collaboration, community, to be building the real world in the future, rather than those ones who are just consume oriented. Sorry.
It's a pepper, right?
Yeah, that was the pepper. But where do you see the technology in all of this?
Mm-hmm. I just want to finish the thought before, but then I come to the technology, because and fitting in the real world, and there's this other thing, they don't know a lot, and I myself have to change my ideas about that as well, because I always thought, it's very important that you know a lot about history, and a lot about music history, and a lot about, I don't know, 5 languages or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe it's not, and we have absolutely no idea what our children need in 20 years. No idea. No one does. And so I think it's important to have this like central, this stable personality, and this how to interact with the world. The other thing is about technology is, of course, technology is here, and they should have their way to work with it, to interact with it, to live with it. On the other hand, we are we are a little critical about digitalization, because there are also studies which show that younger children, especially younger children, get stronger or emotionally more stable when they don't start at a very, very early age. So we decided to start digital devices and technology with secundaria, which is the 6th grade in our school, meaning like somewhere between 10 and 12, maybe earlier, we don't know, but that's the plan now. So they have, of course, and they learn very, very, very quick. I mean, give some child an iPad, and like in 2 days they're better than you are. But do you think it's not the best way to implement digital devices in a very early age? There are a lot of there are actually a lot of schools like the one we want to build already established, like in Lower Austria and in Upper Austria, and our teachers, they visited one in Lower Austria, and they even tell the parents that they shouldn't even have a TV at home. I mean, that's very strict. But
oh, wow.
and we are not going to do that.
Although nowadays television is really not so interesting anymore.
I know. But that's an old school.
Yeah.
They've been there for like 30 years, so probably. But the way, what we think is, give them the time to develop like things that can do with their hands, like emotional learning, social learning, and then, of course, start the devices.
I think I really understand your point. Sometimes we forget that those things are just tools.
Yeah.
And they become the purpose instead of, actually, or they become the problem rather than being part of the solution. So
I mean,
then
there are
you
also
see
addiction topics and things like that with it.
But I have a really a little bit of also a provocative question. You guys say in one of the interviews you gave to the Salzburg newspaper here, you said, we're not trying to compete with the existing school system, but we want to be a good alternative. on the other hand, these kinds of schools, like the one you are building, although you say, you know, we're going to have a pot out of which we can provide funds for people from underprivileged backgrounds, this notion of having a school where mindfulness, nature play a role, a lot of the kids, a lot of the families, they won't be able to access this kind of system anyways, because, you know, you can't let in like more than 25, 30 kids at the most. So what can we do to bring this kind of school system out of this privilege realm? What do we need to do?
And that's what I read what I read the last couple of weeks and months. There are a lot of ideas which are in the regular school system now, which came from what we are doing now. Because this type of school has been around like for 30 years, or no, it's about 50 years actually. Because I think in the 70s the school
Okay, cool.
started. And a lot of ideas being implemented, then made their way to the regular system. So you just
but 30 years later.
No. I think it doesn't take 30 years or 50 years. Now it's just you have to show how. Hey, come on, it works.
Yeah.
And I hope so, and I hope people will say, okay, it works, so we can implement it in the regular system. But at the moment, I can't change the regular system.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a teacher, and I'm not. It's not my profession. I just thought a lot about it, and I read about it. But I think we can show it works, and then the more alternatives there are, the more the regular system, which is of course a good thing, people there think, okay, we should do something else. And there is a lot happening. As you said, there is mindfulness, and there is a lot alternative. And I think Maria Montessori and like Gerald Hüther, they have to. And I mean, there are a lot of modern, or not even modern. Maria Montessori was a long time ago, or Rudolf Steiner. I mean, there are a lot of ideas which are implemented now in the regular system as well, and no one says because. But I think it was Montessori, like that there are small chairs in the school. That's not like something that has been there forever, but now it's normal, and it's not coming from the regular system. It's been coming from, I think, Montessori.
Interesting. Yeah, I think we firstly we don't probably know the history of, you know, children chairs becoming smaller, etc. But still, I think we need a real societal mind shift, because we finally have to accept the truth, the fact that that, you know, the economy, the understanding of what school is, that it is a place where you go to learn facts, and, you know, you go to learn knowledge that's reproducible, and all you need to do is kind of repeat whatever the teacher is saying, just then to go to the cubicle of a company and do the same thing more or less over there as well. I think we're not made, just like you say, we're not necessarily made for cubicles. Well, exactly. But still, I mean, the industry and school system and politics, they work hand in hand, right? The industry comes and says, we need workers, we need people who sit in front of the computer, we need data scientists, we need, you know, XYZ. And then it's kind of translated into political systems, and then you produce whatever the industry needs. But the problem is, industry is so fast now, they just don't know what's going to happen in the next 10 years.
Don't know. Yeah, that's right. And that's why I think and I mean, there is also, I mean, you are more into that than I am, but artificial intelligence, things like that, robotics, I mean, there's so much going on that I think that we will need less and less like workers, but a lot of people who think about innovation and creativity. I mean, I know that's already the topic, and, and that's what we need. And And there will also always be a lot of different people, and I know it's a problem if the society is going like this.
Mm-hmm.
But still, I can only do what I can do, and what I can do at the moment is what I think is good, putting that in that one school, and with my own kids and with the kids around us, and like in this area where we are, and then see what happens.
Yeah.
And that's all I can do at the moment. And I try to, keep it where I can do things.
What I think that's really, really cool and super interesting. And, you don't always meet parents who just say, the school system sucks, so I'm going to start my own. That's really awesome. I love
you meet
it.
a lot of people who say the school system sucks.
Exactly. Well, Elisabeth, thank you so much. This was a delightful conversation. How about your food? Did you finish? Oh no!
I just put everything together, and I have to mix it now, and I roll it myself.
Yeah, I think this is my last piece of bread, so I'm almost at the end.
I can show you what I did. It's here.
Ah, excellent. And then that's going to be mixed.
Yes.
Oh. Well,
that's something for my little girl to do in the afternoon.
Excellent. And once you guys are done, I want to see a picture of it on Instagram.
Sure.
And one last thing, of course, we never let our guests go away without a joke. So, do you have one for me?
I have one. Taken from the school, actually, but from a conventional school. It's about little Chekhov, and little Chekhov is very proud that he's able to count very, very fast. He's such a clever, smart guy. And then the teacher asks, in the classroom, the teacher asks, how much is 25 times 67? And Chekhov says, I know. He says, yes, Chekhov. And Chekhov says, 3,560. And the teacher says, no, that's wrong. And Chekhov says, yeah, but it was very fast.
See, that's what matters. Be fast.
Yes.
I have a joke too. Also a kind of educator's joke. I had it from a teacher's a joke. How do you say, compilation? What kind of pencil was Shakespeare using? To be.
I like that.
Awesome. Elisabeth, thank you so much for joining me. Wishing you all the best for the school next year. And, I wish it was here, right in the city. You guys are in the nature. So I could send my kids to your school as well. But I'm really hoping that there will be interesting collaborations and synergies. Thank you again for taking the time.
Thank you.
And yes, see you around. Looking forward to our next coffee.
Thank you so much, Seda. Take care.
Bye. Lovely. Bye-bye.